I love raw dog in XCM calls. He's talking about Chaos DAO.
Yeah, this is the origin story of Chaos DAO.
The worst people. So then in my past job, I played WoW with somebody in the office that knew me as Leemo.
Yeah.
And then another person in the office was into crypto and was scrolling Twitter at work, which you shouldn't do that, naughty. Scroll past this account called Leemo, and then this other person was like, that's Lee over there. And then this person came up to me with my Twitter account, was like, that's you.
Oh,
and I was like, oh, my parents are really not happy with what I've decided to do. Don't FUD too much.
Have you ever FUDded too much?
Can I get a beer?
The launch team wishes you good luck and Godspeed.
Space Monkeys, blasting off at last with Leemo. He's the Chief Nice Officer of Novasama Technologies, the co-founder of Chaos DAO, bringer of DarkGov, and all-around key pillar of the Polkadot ecosystem, one of the most requested guests ever for this series. And here we are approaching episode 200. We have him at last. Leemo, welcome to the show.
You're making me blush with that intro. Thank you very much.
We're here in the back room of the Web0 block spatey.
In the block spatey, yes.
You can see quite a lot of chaos behind the scenes here.
Very chaotic. Even behind the camera.
Don't look behind the camera. Your publicist is here.
Yes, exactly. My ghostwriter.
Oh, she writes all the tweets?
100%.
Good stuff, man. Well, dude, I don't think there's anybody who's been in Polkadot more than 2 weeks and doesn't get a whiff of what you're serving. You're behind so many of the big movements, social, political, technical in the ecosystem, but you're not like a technical dev sort of guy.
I am definitely not a developer, yeah. I'm an enthusiast, I would say, rather than a developer, yeah.
What was it that you were spending all your time doing before you became so enthusiastic about Polkadot?
My life story when I was a child.
Your first memory.
No, so I got into like the blockchain space on New Year's Eve 2020, going into 2021.
Oh yeah.
It was during the old COVID lockdown.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I need to get my life together and do some investing. And then I was like, I remember this Bitcoin thing that I seen on Reddit a bunch. And I was like looking into it, and then went on like CoinGecko, top 10 coins, saw Polkadot, read the synopsis and was like, oh shit, that's really awesome.
Right there, all on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, all alone during COVID lockdown, yeah.
Damn. What was it about that description of Polkadot that, got you excited?
It was the interoperability aspect, like getting chains to talk to each other. It seemed pretty good and needed. But like when I first read it, it's like, oh yeah, Bitcoin should talk to Ethereum, which obviously isn't necessarily what we're doing now. But
they're still working on it.
Yeah, but it made sense that these chains should all interact with each other.
Damn. How long was that deep dive session?
I want to say until about 3 a.m. over like 12 beers or so.
Yeah. That's amazing. And so what did you do? Did you buy?
Yes. Not financial advice. I believe at the time it was like $5. And then obviously that was the start of like the bull run.
Nice.
So it's quite a nice time to start investing.
So you've broken even?
I've broken even, yeah. Yeah, we're now back at like my entry point, basically, which is interesting, yeah.
Okay, you bought it. Do you remember where you bought it from?
Binance.
Okay. So you did your KYC, you bought it, or no KYC back then?
I don't believe you
I don't
had
think you had
KYC,
to do KYC
back then, yeah.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. How did it feel when you first had it in your Binance wallet?
Amazing.
No, but for real.
It's just interesting, But then like you quickly like start learning about like the tech, right? Mm-hmm. So you like, I think it's pretty common to go from like learning about Bitcoin to then like smart contracts on Ethereum and then like the Polkadot stuff. At the time, there was no documentation really, and everything was through Polkadot.js apps, which is why I'm quite good at using Polkadot.js apps because you had to use it back then. Yeah.
That's crazy. 2021. I mean, I think that's when I think we got in around the same time.
We got in at the same time as like Alice and Bob and everyone. And we were doing educational videos, which is something I still kind of do. Yeah.
I saw you doing educational videos, and honestly, I don't remember if I saw you do them first and I just started copying you, or if I had the same idea at the same time. I don't remember. Do you
I'm
remember?
such a trendsetter.
You honestly are, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember because I think my first video was like how to create a wallet or something.
Yeah.
And then it was how to stake with Polkadot.js apps.
Okay, yeah.
And then how to participate in a crowd loan on Rococo, which was quite interesting.
Oh, wow. That's very good.
Yeah.
No, I tell people all the time that I owe my whole career to Polkadot.js apps being so dreadful to use, right?
Same.
Yeah. And I think at the same time, Allison Bob Tommy was also kind of making videos. He was also trying to like solve this information gap.
Yes.
And it was him who decided to start a Discord.
Yes.
Yeah?
So he's talking about ChaosDAO.
Yeah, this is the origin story of ChaosDAO. Yeah.
The worst people. Yeah. So
It didn't start that way.
It didn't start that way.
No.
It started as like a place for people that are passionate about Polkadot and the tech and stuff.
Yeah.
To like just be together without like all the, if you remember the bull run, just all the moon boys, like the price is going to this amount and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it started off humble and nice beginnings, let's say.
You know, not to say that the early members weren't interested in number go up, but it wasn't like the main focus.
Yeah, it never has been the main focus. Obviously, there was still like discussions about that, but it's not the main focus yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Tommy saw something that kind of united us, and it was this passion, this enthusiasm that we all kind of shared in the beginning.
He's the guy that actually told me about governance, I guess, like the council. Because when I was making videos, I made one about, what is it, SS58 address formats or something?
Sexy.
Where, you know, you have your underlying Polkadot account and each chain has a different resulting address, but it's the same account.
Yeah.
So I made a video about that and I got tipped $400 by the Kusama Council, and I bought a microphone that's the worst quality version of this one.
Oh, yeah, nice.
The MV7, yeah.
Oh, yes, I love that. That's a great entry-level microphone.
It is very good, yeah.
Okay, that's good. No, the tipping at the time was beautiful. Maybe some people weren't there to not know how it works, but anybody could submit a tip to the council. This was governance 1. The council of how many people was it? On Kusama, like
I think it was
13.
I think 11 or 13 or something like that.
Something like this, yeah. And then the council would all submit how much they thought it was worth, and then it would be what, the middle amount? Something like this.
Yeah, typically what would happen though is one council member would say like,
this is what
this
it's worth.
should be 10 KSM, and then
in
other
practice,
people would
this is
like,
how it works.
oh, this person approved it, I'll skim read it.
Yeah.
Allegedly in a video game, they'll skim read it, and then just like when you press the tip button, it like comes up with the medium amount anyway, or the median amount anyway.
Oh yeah.
As part of the Hydra Council, that's how it works.
Yeah, and then after a certain period of time, that it was KSM that we were all getting.
Yes.
That hit the account, and do you remember how it felt the first time you got that?
Really cool.
I know.
Because like I was in a reasonably well-paying job at the time before I started grifting the treasury. And it was like, so the amount of money was nice, but it wasn't like life-changing.
Yeah.
But it was like really cool to be like, holy shit, this like thing on the internet is like paying me to like do videos. Like
This like whole movement on the internet. Like I'm part of it. Like
Yes.
I've contributed enough to be recognized.
Yes, it was really cool. And thank you. I think it was Dan Reeser. Thanks, Dan.
Nice. That's very cool. I was getting pushed in a lot by Polkadot. Polkadot was getting me a lot, and then Paradox. Yeah, and then I think we both got pushed by those motivational tips.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think it's just cool to do like educational content. Like if you know something that you think like your friends or whoever in the community might not understand it, just make a video about it. Like I've been doing it quite a lot, for the past like 4 years now.
Yeah.
Every so often, like, you know, it's like once every 3 months there's a video that comes out, but it's good to do.
No, honestly, today you are the go-to guy for me and so many other people for like making complex calls on the chain. It's like you're the guy that we can go to and we'll get an answer within 7 days instead of going to like the higher devs where we'll get an answer never or worse. Like we'll lose their respect completely and they'll never speak to us again. You're like the common man's extrinsic writer or something.
I love raw dogging XCM calls.
That's what I mean.
Somebody that's in this room saw me try and we're trying to like bridge USDT from Polkadot Asset Hub to Kusama Asset Hub.
Oh yeah.
just by guessing how it works, sort of thing. Didn't get to work yet, but I'm fairly confident it will work at some point. Because we've got a treasury spend lined up for Kusama.
Vibe transacting.
Yeah, this Vibe Govin, Vibe XCM, yeah.
Yeah, that's sick. But that was exciting times. I mean, there was the Rome project, just for the OGs. I mean,
the Rome project had a funny ending, right?
What happened? This was an Ohm fork, but it was like with like a Roman Empire game for some reason.
Yes, and some bread. Yeah,
getting that bread. Yeah.
So like these rebasing tokens or whatever would have like a treasury, and a lot of them ended in the same way, where if the treasury was worth like X amount, and you could buy an amount of tokens to like take over their governance basically for less than what was in the treasury, people just did that, and I believe that was what was the end of Rome and some of the other DAO forks. I never quite understood it, to be honest. I always thought it was a bit of a Ponzi. Normally if something is not understandable immediately, it's probably a Ponzi.
Gigadot? I don't understand Gigadot.
Do you want me to explain Gigadot to you?
Okay, no, not right now. That's just a joke.
Bullish Gigadot.
Okay. So that's when we really got into it. What do you think it was about this culture that made you so interested? What were you, like, did you have other experiences with online culture that kind of translated over to this? And what were those experiences?
Yeah, I'm a big World of Warcraft player.
Yeah, okay.
So like since I've been like 12, I've always had like mainly participate in like online communities. Probably a lot of my best friends are people that I know from like online communities, which isn't good for your like, in real life social life unless you like meet up every so often. But yeah, just online communities in general are like the best thing. So like making a community out of this like Polkadot thing seemed to make some level of sense, and still seems to make some level of sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's a community with consequence, with real world consequence.
Yeah.
It's a game in real life in a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've often compared like Polkadot to like a big World of Warcraft guild.
Okay.
In terms of like the governance and everything, and like the social aspect, the drama, like everything like that. It's literally all OpenGov drama you can like compare to like something that's happened in like a World of Warcraft guild, with like giving someone loot that shouldn't have received it and all this sort of stuff. And
what's in general the main mission of a World of Warcraft guild? Like, what are they trying to do?
Kill bosses.
To kill bosses?
To kill bosses.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that translate into the world of Polkadot?
No, but you have some objective, right?
Yeah.
Which I guess is one criticism I have about like Polkadot in general currently.
Yeah.
Is like the mission, the like North Star, isn't really that well defined, and depending on who you ask, they give you a different answer.
Right.
That can be people in the community, it can be people at Parity, it can be people at Web3 Foundation. There doesn't seem to be like some unifying vision other than like making Web3 good sort of thing, but like what are we working towards? What's like a 6-month goal, a 1 year goal, a 5 year goal, whatever. Seems to not really be that well defined, and maybe we could do a better job actually defining it.
I find a lot of the people who become leaders in this space, part of that transition to becoming a leader is becoming more transparent about your identity, doxing yourself, coming out. I often see some killer content on the timeline, some killer contributions from totally anon folks. And I mean, it's just like you and I, when we started, we were anon. And looking at it now from this side, there is this sort of like softness to those contributions because there's like no face there. What was your experience from like starting kind of anonymous to like, being on this podcast today?
I have a really funny one for this.
Okay.
I've always gone by like Leemo in my like World of Warcraft guilds and stuff.
Yeah, where does that come from real quick?
So when I was like 13, I was, for the World of Warcraft players, I was raiding Karazhan, and I would just get really mad at all the 30-year-olds that I was raiding with that were terrible. So then one guy, Danny, was like, you should be called Leemo because you're Lee and emo. So that's where it comes from.
Okay. So you had this identity, Leemo, since you were
yes. So then in my past job, I played WoW with somebody in the office that knew me as Leemo. And then another person in the office was into crypto and was scrolling Twitter at work, which you shouldn't do that, naughty. And scroll past this account called Leemo, and then this other person was like, that's Lee over there. And then this person came up to me on their phone with my Twitter account, was like, that's you.
Oh,
and I was
shit.
like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, it's scary.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, yeah. Good fun.
And are you glad it happened?
Yeah. I mean, I see the value of people being anon, you know.
Sure.
Some people prefer it, you know. But I think there's some power in being like doxed and stuff. So like for me, it's good that I'm like doxed. I think people like can not respect your message more, but like there's more level of weight to it when people know you're like a real person and not like somebody's 15 vault account. Yeah.
Not to say you can't have a big anon account, but I think it is more difficult to build a reputation around.
I think so. To build the rep is kind of difficult, but it's each to their own, right? Like I know a lot of people like being anon. So
Do you think this ecosystem also pushes people to be more doxed compared to other ecosystems?
yeah, I think with like treasury spends, for example,
Yeah.
I think you do quite a good job at trying to get people to like set like the social standards and stuff. So I think in general, if you're going for like treasury money and you're not doxed, it's like a lot more difficult, right? People want to know this is like a real person, and then it seems to be easier. I think even like Bill and Hi Bill always like ask for like verified identities, which you can just do through Twitter, but like if you're anon, it's just harder for treasury stuff, right? Yeah, people like knowing there's a person behind the treasury spend, I guess. You know? Yeah.
Okay, so eventually you became more legitimate because you got a real job in the ecosystem.
I wouldn't say that, but more annoying.
Okay. Well, hold on. Wait, just so we know where you came from. What were you doing before? What industry were you working in?
I worked in the oil and gas industry.
Yeah? What were you doing?
I was a mechanical engineer.
Really?
For a BP subcontractor in Azerbaijan for 6 years. Yeah.
Wait, you were like working on machinery?
No, I was like in the office mainly doing like drawings and construction work packs and stuff, but I'd go like offshore to the rig and stuff quite a few times.
Yeah, wow.
Flying on helicopters and stuff. Pretty cool.
Serious business.
Yeah, it was fun.
So, I mean, that's a serious career with probably decent income, yeah?
Yeah, my parents are really not happy with what I've decided to do.
Why did you decide to do
shit
it?
Posting. So because of like my enjoyment of Polkadot JS apps, like teaching people how to use it, I got like some kind of position at like Robonomics, and then just like started just helping the community generally. And then something in the world happened that made me quite cognizant of the fact that if certain people didn't have crypto, they wouldn't be able to leave their country, which might have a very horrible person leading it.
I have like 12 examples coming to mind. Like, which one are you talking about?
Lots of them, right? There's lots of them.
Yeah.
There's lots of people in the world, unfortunately, live in like tyrannical governments.
Yeah.
And sometimes the things that those leaders do cause them to be like sanctioned from like the financial system. So then if you have all your money in the bank, but now your bank doesn't work abroad, like it works in the country, but not like abroad, you kind of can't leave properly. But if you just like have your seed phrase in your head or like written down on a piece of paper, you can like, as long as you can leave by like bribing people, then you can move anywhere and like OTC crypto and pay rent and stuff. So then it was like my friends were impacted by stuff like that. So I was like, I'd been offered like a full-time job at Nova Wallet, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna take that because I'm friends with like Anton and stuff. So I was like, I'll take that and like try and like be helpful in some way in this Web3 world. So yeah.
Contrast and compare for me BP and Nova Wallet.
Both can be quite stressful.
Okay.
Just different, right? Like I prefer working at Nova. I really like working there. So
Sure.
It's just completely different scope of a job.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's different?
Just everything, I guess. I don't know how to answer that.
Okay.
It's just the client is always really stressful. So like BP's stressful, and then like Polkadot OpenGov is very stressful as a client. There's a similarity.
Sure.
No, it's just I prefer like I prefer the Polkadot stuff because like the online community stuff makes a lot of sense to me. In the oil and gas industry, it can be kind of hard to like climb up and get like social credit, I guess, social credibility, whatever. Social capital, I think, is the word that we use. Whereas in crypto, it's easy to like try and climb up and be some kind of like thought leader or whatever.
Yeah,
you
there's
know?
a lot of like upward mobility here. It's not like some
Yes.
like entrenched hierarchy that you can
Yes.
never scale.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
like for example, a lot of people criticize like some stuff that I say or do or whatever.
Yeah.
But like just start as like a community member and just like share your thoughts constantly. It seems to work out. It's worked out for you. It's worked out for Tommy. It's worked out for me, for Ben, for all these people.
Yeah, yeah.
So just be vocal and actually enjoy the tech and share your thoughts about it,
Mm-hmm.
And don't FUD too much as well. A little bit's okay, but not all the time.
Have you ever fudded too much?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, how did you know you fudded too much? What's the signs that people should look out
just
for?
people stop talking to you and stuff and get a bit negative.
Yeah. Yeah.
This was like a few years ago when I was on a really big FUD angle. But it's better to, if you're going to FUD, have a way to fix the thing that you think is bad.
Yeah.
Don't just like, this is bad, cry.
Right.
Be like, this is bad. I think this is the way to fix it.
Yeah.
And then hopefully people help you implement that fix.
It's so irritating when people's whole identity is built around FUD because you know that pointing out problems is so freaking easy. I can stand in any city and just point at problems all day without appreciating the beauty. Yeah, the beauty of like everything is actually working pretty well despite the trash on the sidewalk. You know what I mean? Like,
at least there's electricity still.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
Totally. Well, back to Nova. What's been the through line of your mission at Nova?
We are trying to make the best products with the best user experience to make it easier to get involved in like Web3, right? Like, for example, like Nova Wallet is, I believe, the most popular wallet in Polkadot right now and the most feature rich. If you go back to like 2021, it was terrible, like just the experience on Polkadot, whereas now it's like one-click onboarding with like Google or Apple. There's like one-click swaps, one-click staking, whatever. It's making it like more readily and easily accessible, right? Same with all the other products. It's just making stuff that's good and people want to use.
Honestly, the Polkadot UX and all the apps have gotten so much better since when we started.
Yes.
One of the huge transitions of Polkadot, I guess, has been usability and all these amazing use cases that are popping up. The other big change from the beginning that we were speaking about earlier is the transition from the council. And you kind of spoke about not the apathy of the council, but it was like the intense burden on the council actually meant that not a lot of eyes were on every decision that was being made.
Yeah.
So a couple of years ago, we transitioned to this OpenGov, and I think that's really where a lot of your influence and impact is in the ecosystem today.
Yeah, unfortunately, because it's a lot of drama normally.
Right.
Yeah, like in Gov1, like a lot of people were not paying attention at all, really. Genuinely, like nobody give a fuck about like, it's like nobody was reviewing what the council was really doing in the community at least. And then, we moved to like OpenGov, and I think like things like AAG and just like me, you, Tommy, whoever, like Ben, everyone like just posting about governance constantly.
Yeah.
And making it readily like accessible, like with like Subsquare and stuff like that. People just like see they have some level of like agency, whereas with the council system, you don't really have the agency. To be like a bit critical. A lot of the council were like voted in early doors with like quite sizable whale accounts basically.
Yeah.
And then they just never really moved their stake, off of the council members. And it seemed like kind of impossible to become a council member because you would have to get so much stake behind you. I think that's kind of bad. I like when more people have a voice so you can like troll people on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know why I started AAG?
Why? I think I joined in episode 7, I think it was.
You were early, yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to get some funding through for WAG Media, and this was like when all the people who were active in governance were really, like they were validators and whatnot.
Yes.
Obviously, I respect a lot.
The validator mafia.
The validator mafia, yes. And it was such a struggle. It ended up going through, but I thought this platform where governance was happening, which was like a back room on Element,
the best
what is it called?
Chat app, Polkadot Direction and Kusama Direction. Yeah.
Direction, yes.
Yeah, the best.
Yeah, so this is where all the action happened, really behind closed doors. I mean, you could
Not really closed doors.
No,
You
anybody
can
could get there.
join,
You
but-
just didn't know where the doors were.
It's because, like a lot of the community don't use Matrix. I know
Yeah.
why people do use it. It's like end-to-end encrypted and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like better than Discord that a lot of people have issues with and Telegram. But it wasn't like super easy for the average person.
Yeah.
It's like I need to download a new app and
Yeah.
all this stuff. It's like the barrier to entry is kind of high for people.
So here I was on Element facing the validator mafia, and they kept talking about what the community believes. And I thought, no, this is not the community at all. ChaosDAO is not here. All the other active people aren't here. And what happened for that ref is it was so controversial that the council, instead of deciding on it by themselves,
They put it to a public proposal.
public vote. And this was
Yeah.
like just a few weeks or months before OpenGov was going to hit the scene.
Yeah.
So I was like, fuck it, we're going to open up a wide open platform, stream it on YouTube, and get a new conversation going.
Yeah, and it was really good. It's now we're on episode 240 right now, 241 next
Yeah,
one.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I would also like when people say like the community thinks this, be really skeptical of those people. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
And typically I would say the broader community is like there's so many different people
Totally.
that are in so many different like cliques, whatever
Yeah,
you call it.
yeah.
That like, one person saying that they understand how the community feels
Yeah.
is normally extremely wrong, and you shouldn't listen to them. Yeah.
So what have you thought about the OpenGov experiment? I mean, we've been at it for 2 years now?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think OpenGov is like the ultimate like stakeholder governance model, right? And people don't like that because they don't have a lot of stake, and they're used to like democracies where one person is one vote. It doesn't matter if you're like Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, but hold on. You and I technically don't have a lot of stake.
Yeah, I'm like quite poor.
Right.
No, I get 50 grand a month, trust me, a week, sorry, whatever it is.
Oh, right.
When you see that's the rules of the game,
Yeah.
that like you need some level of stake to be, to have your voice be like heard more. I mean, even if you're like one dot, you can still cast your vote, right?
Sure.
But like you like seeing the needle move, let's say. You should just do like what we did at ChaosDAO, which was like, why don't we all like band together and vote collectively, and then people from your group will like delegate to the collective account, and then you have like a lot more say. It's also good because it like empowers people, so there'll be people from like less economically developed backgrounds that are really passionate about Polkadot, but like it's just like the RNG of where they spawned into life, that they like can't buy a ton of it, or they were not early to buy a ton of it during the ICO or whatever, and it gives them like more agency, because let's say there's like 100 people in like a DAO and you have like 5 million votes. Well, then at worst, if everyone's voting, you're like 1% of the 5 mil, but you might only have like a couple hundred dot. But it doesn't mean that like you're not committed because you only have 100 dot. Like that genuinely might be the only amount that you can buy.
Yeah.
I had this conversation with a whale semi recently, probably about 6 months ago, about like, okay, you're really convicted in Polkadot because you have a lot of it, but like if your portfolio is like $50 million and you have $25 million of DOT, then you're 50% convicted to like, this is the investment or the thing that I want to do.
Yeah.
Whereas like if some guy's got like $100 to his name in like savings and all $100 is in DOT, I would say that he's probably more convicted than the whale,
right?
Because it's he's allocated more of a percentage to DOT. So like him, the person with less money having a stronger voice is, I think, good. So that's what we try to do. But it causes quite a lot of drama, as some of you probably know.
There's even without a lot of capital, there's a lot of opportunity to build social capital.
Yes.
And even if you vote with one dot and then you comment on Subsquare, you get that little symbol next to your name showing which way you voted.
Yes.
And that gives you more credit than somebody who's commenting without a vote, for instance.
Yes. I would also say, like, do comment on refs. Like, I'm probably guilty of not doing it as much, but I also comment on like AG or like Twitter or whatever as well.
Yeah.
Or directly in DMs with the people. Like, do be active. Like, do say your opinion. Like, no one's gonna tell you off for like saying your opinion as long as you're polite, which again, I'm guilty of not being polite sometimes. Just say your piece. We need more like voices in the eco. Yeah, don't be afraid to comment, basically.
We've seen probably over 2,000 refs now in OpenGov across the two chains.
It's funny because before Polkadot OpenGov was live, I think I had a call with the Centrifuge DAO, and I think I said in year one there'll be 1,000 refs, and some of the Centrifuge DAO are like Ethereum people, and they were like, no, this is like crazy, and then it was like I think 998 or something.
Wow.
Funkatron can confirm that he was on that meeting as well. Yeah,
amazing. So, what are some qualities of dog shit refs that they all share? Like, what are some commonalities between refs that are definitely here for no good, whether intentionally or just like accidental greed or anything like that?
I think one thing that I'm normally quite skeptical of is when people post a referendum and they say like, this will bring 750 million users or
Absolutely.
500 million users or this market is this.
It's always 8 billion, by the way.
Yeah, it's always 8 billion, the population of the world. Like I get why they do that, but it's like, be like realistic. Like, for example, I think it's like the smart home market is quite big, but then the amount of people that care about like not using big data basically is like, I think it's like 500k people that have a smart home that don't want like their data center some data center or whatever.
Yeah. And then how many of those people can you reach?
Yeah. So then it's like, well, it's probably like realistically you can say like, okay, it's a few percentage of that, but then still quite a lot of users, right? Just saying like the market for this thing is this massive number and they're definitely going to use the blockchain for this. Yeah. Is always something I'm skeptical of.
Okay. So conflating addressable market with realistic usage.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Big no-no. What else you got?
I've said this in some group chats and I'm probably going to get told off for saying this.
Okay. We're definitely keeping this in.
Yeah. Keep it in. Like when people are like, oh, I've been granted a Web3 Foundation grant or I've passed the PBA or something like that. Like it's good, don't get me wrong, it's great.
Totally.
But like, okay, you got like one grant, why didn't you get the second one? And like asking like the Web3 Foundation, hey, why didn't they get funded? Is it because it's bad? Is it because you were like, okay, this is ready for like OpenGov? Someone's a bit critical of that. Even though it's like, it's good, like if someone's passed the PBA and is coming to build a good product, then great. But like that doesn't give you like the default like this must pass because I passed the PBA.
Right.
And like another thing, like to go off the PBA angle a bit, and I've said this on like I had a meeting with like some of the PBA people, and I think Fabi was there and stuff. I think we need to go away from like a buyer's market or whatever, where like people come and they're like, I want to do this, give me this money for this thing.
Yeah.
I think we need to be like, we're the ones with the capital, the DAO, the treasury is the one with the capital.
Yeah.
So we need to be like, as token holders, hey, what's some stuff that we really want? And then post an RFP like we've been doing semi-recently.
Yeah.
And then people come and like say, I can do that. Like probably the things that we've done is like relatively cheap compared to if somebody came up with it themselves.
Absolutely.
But like the products that you get is still the same thing. And it's not like that the team is like doing it at cost or like losing money on it. It like works out all around. Like everybody wins basically. And I think we need to do that more as the treasury. Like I'm wearing a heroic jersey right now. So it's like maybe Polkadot does want to sponsor some esports teams.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, we want to sponsor esports teams and we want this. We want the logo here. We want blah, 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 media done, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we can say, this is the money that we have for that. And then get a lot of interest from all the teams. Same with like football jerseys or like whatever it is. It doesn't have to be sponsorship stuff, you know.
So you mentioned a few things there. One was people leaning on their association with bigger organizations, especially when those organizations don't come in to support them.
Yes, I would like them to be way more vocal. I'd like the foundation and parity to be. I know Pierre recently has been doing that on I think it's the Hydra. Cloud.
It's nice to see parity be even more active in OpenGov.
Yes,
absolutely.
Because like I'm not the most technical person, so like when Pierre says something, it's like, you know, I take that pretty seriously. Or when like Sean or Basti or Joe or somebody is like, this is really good, then it has a lot of like weight in my mind that like this is something that's useful. Yeah. So just if people would comment more, it would be great.
Yeah. And then, okay, the other thing you're talking about, this is probably going to be a future red flag when people come to the treasury and ask for money for their idea instead of applying for an RFP that people from the treasury propose themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this actually brings us to the sponsor of today's Space Monkeys episode, RFP.fund. Got an idea and a crew that can make it happen? Check out RFP.fund to build your RFP today. Nice. Any other red flags in refs that you see? I got one. Requesting DOT.
Requesting DOT, yes.
Yeah.
So like I posted quite a provocative comment on a recent referendum to buy stablecoins. Use some kind of strong language that people told me off for.
Okay.
But like,
I think I missed that.
You should go and read it. It's a banger.
On buying stablecoins.
Yeah, the Treasury DCA into stablecoins. So like basically everyone, if you have a business, you typically need to pay people in stuff that's denominated in like dollars, euros, pounds, whatever the currency is.
Yeah.
And you scope out that project, and you're like, this is going to be this many hours. The salary is this. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So then if you get DOT, if the price of DOT goes up, then you as the proponent win because you get more money, but then the treasury loses because it's paid out more USD denominated money. But then if the DOT goes down, you then can't complete the project, which leads to like top up referendums and stuff. And the end of the day, like what typically happens is that DOT or KSM, whatever, is then sold. And if the ref's big and the people don't know what they're doing, they can like Judas candle the chart, which is like normally not something you want to do.
Yeah.
Whereas like slowly DCAing into stables, like just request the stables, because at the end of the day, people need to pay stuff in dollars currently or whatever to pay rent and stuff.
Ooh, where are you on the DCA into Bitcoin idea?
I was pretty supportive of it before. Like, I think Funky posted the Wish for Change.
Yeah.
I think my comment to him when we were kind of drunk on a ChaosDAO Friday night call was be more specific about which Bitcoin derivative it is. I think now it's like TBTC because of hydration going into that because of the centralization risks of the BTC, and then IBTC kind of not having the best liquidity on their vault.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I think the treasury should buy more stuff as like maybe a hedge or something. But you're always going to get people that don't like it because they see the price of DOTs kind of low or whatever in their mind, and then especially Bitcoin's kind of high right now. So they're like, oh, this is the worst time you could have done it. I agree. It's probably not the best time. The best time was like years ago.
Right. That's what they say, right?
But like, you know, you can do it slowly. It's something that I think is interesting to do. And like, for example, the Hydration DAO has bought loads of like Bitcoin and ETH and Sui and Sol and Link, Sky, Aave, like all this stuff, right? And that's owned by the protocol, but it's used for trading. But like they're diversifying their portfolios as a DAO. I think it's an interesting thing. But the comments on that ref will be, why are we doing this now? The treasury is making the price of DOT go down.
Right.
We can maybe go on that.
Is that true that the treasury is making the price of DOT go down?
No.
Okay. I mean, the treasury sells DOT, right?
The treasury sells DOT, but the amount of DOT it is selling compared to a few things. So like certain whales that like I maybe know personally, selling way more than the treasury has ever sold.
Yeah.
Probably does more to the chat than the treasury selling stuff. And normally the treasury sells stuff because it gets some service, which is good for the ecosystem.
Right.
There's also like staking. Like you can go on like a June Analytics dashboard and see the accounts that are getting staking rewards and then who's selling them. Probably the amount of sell pressure from staking rewards is like way more than the treasury.
Yeah.
And again, like I'm a big nay voter in OpenGov, but if we're gonna spend money on stuff that's gonna provide value to the ecosystem, like I think Nova Wallet does. Like I don't think there's anyone that's like we shouldn't pay Nova Wallet. You know, because I think it's a good thing for the eco.
Yeah.
Same as a lot of stuff. There's some stuff that is genuinely dog shit that we've paid for.
A few things.
And like, don't vote aye on those. Just vote nay.
Right.
But yeah, the treasury selling DOT has, I believe, no impact on the chat really. Yeah.
So you've given us a few hints of, you know, red flags for dog shit proposals. What's a few qualities of a proposal you see and it just makes your heart sing? I know you're a heavy nayer, but maybe it opens you up to the possibility of eyeing. What are some qualities of these refs?
A team that has received some funding before that's not outrageous and has delivered like a good quality product.
So reputation of delivery.
just stuff that's not really expensive at the get-go, right? Like you might have an idea the way like I want $500,000 for this. It's like you could probably break that up into milestone-based payment, which I think I like quite a lot.
Yeah.
So like Doxxed team that actually delivers, and like milestone-based payments I think are really good. It's why I like the RFP app, because it's like you set milestones. I think we should do that at the treasury a lot. But people need to review all of the milestones. It's happened a few times where like we've approved like milestone 1 through the treasury, and then sometimes like milestone 2, 3, 4, and 5 don't have a cost associated with them, and I think we need to demand that it is costed out like initially, because like milestone 1 might be like 20 grand, but then milestone 5 is like $3 million, and it's like, well, this thing doesn't work unless we pay this $3 million, and it's like a sunk cost fallacy, which I don't really like. So like people just being transparent about costs and milestones and stuff, I think is really good.
Gotcha. And building a reputation, I think, is key, especially like starting small, eh? We like when somebody comes in with a little...
Yeah, come in keen. You know, there's a lot of people...
keenness, yeah.
Like, for example, I think one that comes to mind is the Parasport guy, Duda.
Yeah,
like, he comes in like every
nice.
so often with small requests, and it's like he does deliver. It is used by like Polkadot and some teams.
Yeah.
You can even do scheduled payments that can be cancelled. I don't think we've ever cancelled a scheduled payment, but it's really easy. I have a video on YouTube how to do it. So
Totally.
yeah.
Let me lay out the scene of the ecosystem right now, and I hope I don't mischaracterize anything. You can help me if I do. We have some formerly more influential organizations like the Web3 Foundation right now, a little bit quieter these days. I think trying to organize a little bit and find a way forward. Interesting things happening on Kusama there. We have Parity, which is kind of restructuring around delivering some key products, I think. Top G is off building Jam.
Yeah.
And with the fellowship is another key player here. And then, of course, we have all the DVs in action. ChaosDAO is a big mover. And then individuals like yourself, even apart from ChaosDAO, making big contributions, high agency here. What I mean, you know, if you could kind of have a magic wand here, how would you move forward here? What are a few paths forward, or a few places where people could pick up a shovel and help out here?
It's difficult because whenever I see something like that, I just have agency to like try and fix it.
Yeah, okay.
Like liquidity is one.
Liquidity, okay, nice.
And like the treasury really can provide liquidity. It's like the refs we did recently for like Snowbridge stuff, where you know, somebody that I know tried to bridge like stablecoins over Snowbridge because it's like the thing that's promoted on the website and stuff,
right?
But it just doesn't work because there's no liquidity, and it wasn't sufficient, and blah 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 blah. Like the UX was just not ideal. People sometimes criticize Polkadot for like not having anything to do. But like at the Web0 place in the past like couple of days, like we've been showing people like Nova and hydration and stuff, and they're like, wow, we didn't know this was on Polkadot, and it's like really cool. But then like I've asked this question to a few people. It's like, okay, if people think like Solana's really good, like what are they doing on Solana? As far as I understand it, it's like a DEX with like perp trading, and then like a meme coin generator for like value extraction, which I don't think's great. But then it's like, what else are people doing? I know there's like prediction markets on like Polymarket and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, like, what are the things that people like, that ecosystem's great because of this? What is that thing? I kind of believe it's liquidity on dexes and like users and like people. I can make money doing this because I can long Sol or something like that, right?
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I mean, I've been sleeping like 20% of my usual sleeps because I've been playing FIFA Rivals, like building a huge team. This is all happening on Polkadot.
Yes.
You know?
A lot of people are playing FIFA Rivals. It's apparently very good.
I don't want to brag, but I also got access to Pudgy Penguins, so I've been collecting a lot of Pudgy costumes.
Nice.
It's very delightful. It's a whimsical experience.
A whimsical experience.
Yeah, but
nice.
it's a whimsical experience on Polkadot, to be honest.
The thing is, like, there are people fixing a lot of issues. Like, for example, the DeFi bounty is really good at that.
It's crushing it, yeah.
Mainly, like, led by Velocity and, like, Nico and those guys. There was a lot of issues people had with, like, integrations of, like, USDT, USDC on Asset Hub, on CXs. That's been sorted out with, like, quite a bit of emphasis on, like, LATAM and stuff like that, Turkey, Asia and stuff. I think that goes underappreciated, the work that, like, Velocity is doing. But, again, they have, like, agency. They're like, this is a problem. They propose this bounty, and they're like, okay, we have the contacts and whatever, we can do that and get get paid for it as well, but like it does improve the ecosystem.
Yeah. I think you're right about the liquidity thing. I mean, there's actually a lot happening, and probably as soon as we have a liquid environment for people to bet on it,
Yes.
I think it could come roaring back.
Like obviously like a perp dex would be really good. I think people really like, longing and shorting and stuff. With like leverage, done trade with leverage friends because you'll get wrecked.
Yeah.
But like, people just really like that. But then like the other stuff that like makes Solana popular, like Pump Fun, it's literally just value extraction to the max. It's like somebody on Twitter says something and then there's a bot that just makes a meme coin with it.
Yeah.
And it's literally just gambling. Will I settle before like the other guy? It's just like, is that what we're really doing? Like, it's kind of boring and a bit cringe. Like, let's not do that. Let's actually make like cool stuff. Like, for example, the hydration money market. I like really like that because like if you need like an emergency loan, you don't have to sell your like dot or whatever.
Sure.
You can just like take a loan out, and then when you get the money back, you pay it back and get your assets back. I think stuff like that's really cool. In real life, like for example, like Elon can like loan his like Tesla shares to a bank who will then give him money. It's how they avoid paying tax normally. But like you can't do that as like a normal person. If you have like 10 grand in like Amazon stock, you can't go to the bank and go like, here's my 10 grand of Amazon stock. Can I have 5 grand please? And pay it back.
Right. Yeah.
Whereas like you can do that in crypto, which is really cool. So stuff like that's like actually useful, I think is what we need to prioritize. For example, the personhood stuff's really cool.
Totally.
Like Sybil attacks is something that people need to pay attention to, and that fixes that in a way without giving up your identity. It's just this person is a person, not who this person necessarily is, which I think's like really cool. I'm looking forward to actually that being live.
The future's bright. I especially think that in a bear market situation where speculators are totally wiped out, Polkadot is going to shine in a big way. It's going to be pretty wild.
Yeah, I think so. And I like the stuff that like, for example, the Web0 team, like Sasha specifically is doing with like having like hackathons and like a DevRel person. I think we need more of that. We need, for example, documentation is an issue. And I think it's Dennis and Daniel are like, I think going to the Web3 Foundation or somewhere, or maybe OpenGov, to basically be like, hey, we want to fix like the documentation for developers. Because when you come to events and people see like what's possible on Polkadot, I think they get like kind of inspired to do it. But it's like, unless they come to an event, it can be really difficult to actually get started.
Sure.
So yeah, improving the DevRel experience, I think is really important as well.
Okay.
I think what Parity is doing with PDP, the parachain deployment portal, like one-click parachains is really good. I think also there's the Rogue teams doing something with like Pop or something like that. Just make it easy to come here and build stuff, I think is awesome. And then it's also like even Asset Hub or the Polkadot Hub, having smart contracts. Like finally, like it's cool. Like Moonbeam has smart contracts, but like, a lot of people think like, oh, Polkadot has no smart contracts. It does, but then if it's on the hub, it's maybe easier. And there's a lot of possibilities there of like using XCM across like different chains and stuff. It's pretty cool.
There's a lot coming. Let's distill it down. Okay, top 3 upcoming things in Polkadot that you're most excited about. Number 3.
Fuck.
Take it down.
Number 3 is it's a double whammy. It's like Holler and perp decks on Hydra. Like
nice, beautiful. Okay, number 2.
Probably the personhood stuff. Like we spoke about it just now, but I think it's really interesting.
That's good. This is why we're doing meetups all the time in Toronto. I want to be like early on that. Getting people in and stuff.
People should do more meetups. I think this is like Doc story. If you watch like Gav's interviews with you and stuff, like Dim Free, I believe I'm not involved in Dim Free, so like this is full speculation on my part.
Of course,
is like you go to a meetup and you like use some application and it's like this person's a real person verified by this group of people. I think that's really cool. So personal stuff, all of the dims is pretty cool.
And the number 1 thing that Leemo is most excited for on Polkadot is
another double whammy. So it's like governance and staking and everything being moved to Asset Hub, and then potential changes to OpenGov maybe that I'm hearing rumors of in the back rooms.
Yeah, the next stage of OpenGov. Yeah, it could be wild.
Yeah.
I'm both concerned and excited about that. I'm definitely optimistic though.
Yeah, I just hope that, so if there is some level of like centralization or something, like people here have been like just saying like maybe it's a council thing, maybe it's like bounties, so everything's in like a bounty controlled by curators or something. It's cool as long as the right people are in the right place, right? You don't want like a council of like just one company or one set of friends, or like imagine if the council was all Chaos DAO people. I'm sure people would hate that. So just apply that to like any entity.
I mean, it's the right people in the role, but also the right game to decide who those people are.
Yes.
You know, because people will become corrupt if they're calcified
Yes.
in a position long enough, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. I'm sure they have something. I'm sure that Gavin is not going to let his experiment absolutely go to shit.
I'm looking forward to how the personhood stuff can be used with governance as well.
Me too.
There could be some interesting stuff there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also would hope that like Pokesami and Subsquare would add like a personhood requirement to like comments, maybe like a checkbox.
Oh.
So because like, you know, people say I have like $300 accounts.
Yeah.
But like genuinely, like a lot of the really negative FUD comments, I fully believe are people in the eco and the alt accounts that are just too scared to like comment what they actually think from their Doxxed account. Can I get a beer, please? Sorry.
We're going to wrap it up in a second, yeah. No, totally. It will hopefully raise the level of discourse a lot.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But you don't even need to dox the person, right? Like, it's just this person is an actual person. I kind of believe sometimes on Pokesami or Subsquare threads that there's like one person with like 3 different accounts commenting sometimes very similar things, sometimes like the opposite thing. It's also on Twitter, right? There's like lots of alt accounts on Twitter that I'm sure are people in the eco just footing unnecessarily about bullshit that nobody actually cares about.
Yeah. There's a lot of noise, but there's a lot to get done too. I hardly see the noise anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, it's better to drown it out. And again, like if people have issues, like actually fix the issue. Don't just sit there like, again, pointing out that there's a puddle on the floor. Like fix the hole in the roof, right? Or at least put the bucket there and be like, here's a temporary thing. I don't know how to fix the hole in the roof, but I can put a bucket there so that there's not a puddle on the floor.
I hear you, man. Well, I'm really, really grateful that you're in the ecosystem.
I'm grateful you're here as well.
We've had a lot of amazing people in the ecosystem who have totally crashed out. But you're still here, you're still standing, you're still making it happen. In fact, you're becoming a greater agent every day. And we owe a lot of the positive movements in the ecosystem to you. A lot of the negative movements as well, but the positive movements are definitely there. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much. Bye.